But what was interesting is I did catch a video from, I actually can't remember who posted it, but it was a video of Russ Jones from Moz talking about domain authority. And it was interesting because he specifically referenced people who use domain authority as a reference for purchasing links or the value of a domain. And he essentially explains that domain authority, the way they actually figure it out internally, has nothing to do with how valuable a link would possibly be from a site. Like, it's not talking about necessarily relevance or power. It's just a very basic metric that is the domain's likelihood to rank. Which, if you have done SEO any time in the past 10 years, you know that the number put on the root URL of a domain can really mean nothing as a site-wide impact from that domain. But it was interesting because Moz essentially came out and said, don't use our domain authority as a metric, and more specifically, that's why they mentioned a lot of people when they updated their metric, that a lot of people saw a dip in their domain authority. I was that earlier this year and everyone was freaking out because their domain authority dropped. And they actually started looking at link distribution patterns, and they said they noticed that where people were actively trying to build links for SEO purposes, there would be like this initial spike in high DA websites, and then it would kind of come down as the site matured, whereas other sites that were just actively building content or obtaining links kind of had this more gradual up to where they started getting these higher quality links and just showed a completely different kind of pattern. So whether that's true or not, that's essentially what you're basing your link strategy on.
So the moral of the story is don't use DA to determine if it's a good link or not?
Yeah.
It's like...
So, something interesting.
I can do it again.
One more. His mind's blowing. That's what's
Don't
happening.
use DA to determine the value of a link.
I think this speaks volumes to any metric. Like, once Google stopped publicizing PageRank, there is no other metric. I like to look at referring domains, relevance of those domains, the power of those domains. Like, you can dig through like Google patents, and you can say, okay, well this one has text, my keyword text or topical text close to the anchor. So theoretically, they could weigh that in the strength of the link. Like, there's a lot of theoreticals.
Exactly. Yeah.
Theoreticals.
Three.
There's a lot of theory, and there's a crazy number of link patents, but at the end of the day, like, that tells me I'm not looking at any metric. I don't want to look at any third-party metric, which it's funny because I have some news from a different company that puts metrics on their links. Not related to, the news isn't related to how they assess the power of them, but like, I just don't know why people put that much equity into, like, what they're saying. Moz is saying we're going to use a bunch of engineers' opinions, right? We're going to form an opinion, have engineers create a process to programmatically grade something based on our opinion of what proper SEO should look like. Excuse my language, but get the heck out of here. Like, I'm not listening to that,
It sounded like their opinion was, though, that because they knew people were selling links based on domain authority, that they would adjust their algorithm to account for link patterns that involved an influx of domain authority links.
And just to be
And
clear,
that's how they impacted
this
domain
is
authority.
Moz changing it, not Google's algorithm.
Yeah,
so this
yeah.
is everything we're talking about is Moz's metric. The
a third-party company that is not related to Google in any way, shape, or form.
Look up Russ Jones, the video, because he's their SEO technician, or I can't remember what it's called. But he essentially talks about how his job is pretty much just sit around all day and kind of like brainstorm these ideas of what, and trying to just look at the search engine the way Google does. But there's really, there's no base for that. There's just data and guesses and altering there. So, but at the end of the day, that was the main point.
And here's the thing, I think we should celebrate that.
Yeah.
Let's celebrate those ideas and people saying, hey, here's what we feel proper SEO should look like, we're going to grade it. Okay, awesome. But let's not value a link link based on that metric. Like,
Well, Ahrefs, it's
good job, buddy.
Ahrefs.
Good job. Oh,
Ahrefs, Mark's favorite brand name, is they have metrics, but it's interesting because that's like nothing I ever look at in that tool. There's so many awesome things in the tool, and even Moz or Majestic, like they're great tools.
yeah, they are.
But that's the whole point, is like using any type of single number to try and figure
Right.
out a massive algorithm that is based on how much, billions of dollars and brains and stuff
Yeah.
getting put into it.
Just from so many links that we've sold at Web20 over the years, you'd just be surprised at how many SEOs still look at those third-party metrics though, and it's like, it's almost like a SEO mindset that they heard some mouthpiece years ago talk about it and took it as the holy grail of SEO, that you look at these third-party metrics when doing link building, and it's just, here's another example of why you don't do that. Why you really have to, if you want to be a real SEO that can take, not a real SEO, I'm not saying anybody that looks at metrics isn't a real SEO, but it's an up-to-date SEO. Like, if you're looking at third-party metrics and you're judging the quality of anything on that, like, you literally are putting blinders on to actually how links and link equity work.
Agreed.
Go back and study backrub. Go study what backrub is and base your SEO knowledge on that and start there and acquire that. I'm passionate about this issue because I've dealt with it for years with
People could
re-educating SEOs on
Yeah.
this.
People could save the time and just listen to me. If it's one thing you listen from me, you can ignore everything else.
Yeah, just one
I've
thing.
been preaching before I've ever sold a link in my life. I pushed people. As soon as PR died, I'm like, stop. There's no metric that's going to mimic what PR did, right? Like, they're not going to be able to weigh it the same.
The interesting thing is how the industry keeps getting pushed into it. Like, even link sellers are almost forced, because we've been through that. Like, people
There's an
want to know the
expectation.
DA,
Such
they want to
bullshit.
know
It's an
the,
expectation.
and it almost is driving the industry. Like, people don't want to buy links without it, and sellers can't sell without giving it because of it.
Yeah, I mean, if all the sellers just said, okay, we're just going to, like, be real about it. Like, we tried. And
Yeah.
I don't even know if we do sell by metric.
Referring
Referring domains.
Well, that's the important one.
We'll say like an average. We'll say
Yeah.
your order will have an average of something.
And we were forced to do that. Our hand was forced to do that because I refused to put a metric on there.
Oh,
Like,
there's
I
so
used to
many
manipulate
things.
metrics using a several thousand site PBN constantly.
Well, even number
for
of
fun.
links.
Yeah, I mean, there wasn't a metric I couldn't manipulate. I never tried Ahrefs, but like, you're not going to tell me I couldn't manipulate that too.
Assuming you could see the site you're placing the link on, what would you say are the most important things then to look at if it's not metrics?
Well, it is metrics, the referring domains. That's the first thing I'm looking at. And then I want to look at the quality of those referring domains in some cases, right?
So, I mean, that's what I'm saying though, because I mean, a lot of people probably will say, well, what's the quality? Do I
I mean,
look
I
at
would
their
look-
domain authority?
Personally, what I would
know?
look at is the page topically relevant? Is the content that you're putting it on topically relevant? That seems to be a really, those links tend to do way better than on non-topically relevant. And then referring domains, how many links are pointing to that site in general, that page in general, things like that. Look what those sites are. Are they higher tier sites, lower tier sites? Literally like looking at, are these just link farms that are pointing to it just to, artificially boost the referring domains? Are they actually real solid, legit sites?
Yeah.
And natural linking patterns. I mean, I'm looking to get links from sites that look natural. So that's, I mean, but my biggest one, obviously, referring domains is what the quality, that's the number one. That's going to power your link. The number of links referencing your web page, every little vote is going to give you a little bit boost in the power of that link. And then it does seem like topical relevance, placing another link on the page is important. Things like that stuff's obviously important as well. Making sure that link is placed in context. You know, not going overly heavy on anchor text. Anchor text is huge.
No, that's...
Your anchor text selection, you can take pretty shitty pages and get links from, and if you use a safe anchor text, it's going to be generally a safe link to have. Whereas if you use overly aggressive commercialized text on a really great page, your link is going to give you a lot more chance of issues there. So that's huge. Your choice of what the anchor text is. Make a wise choice there. Your links will do better if you do wise anchors. That's my advice.
I mean, yeah, honestly, that's a good thing to bring up, because all domain authority and metrics aside, people screw up their anchors and they'll destroy it anyways. You could have the best links from the greatest sites.
To me, it's the most important thing with building link is get your anchor. It doesn't matter if you get that wrong. You can have the best mention from the most powerful page. You get that anchor wrong, Google doesn't like it. That link's not going to do much.
She's a touchy algorithm.
Or it could hurt. That's an issue where it could directly hurt you.
Something I've looked at a few times where if you actually know like niche placements, or if you're doing some kind of outreach, also even looking at the page and the interlinking to that page, just run it through Screaming Frog, because even some sites, like a lot of people won't like getting a niche placement. They'll be like, oh, there's no backlinks to this page, but
the power comes through those internal links.
I mean, Google bots crawling the site, and there's a lot of power there, and that's why PBN started creating a footprint with homepage links, and I think every link is created equal. That's what we need to get that. I know there's probably some disagreeing there, but I think it's when you start looking at it like there's better links and worse links, that's when you start messing up. You should be looking at it as there's relevant links, there's links where there's people, traffic, like there's a reason behind the link, and as long as there's a reason that makes sense and not just, oh, it's got a metric or something.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
That's a good talk. Hopefully you guys like that, right? If you're building links based on DA, I'd highly recommend looking at referring domains, looking at other, grab the reasonable surfer patent, look through what it tells you.
Yeah, just stop buying based on metrics.
Moz told you not to do it.
Doesn't mean anything.
Moz told you not to build links based on their metrics.
They really did.
They did.
No,
yeah.
that's not enough. I mean, come on. And I'm actually happy they did that. They didn't have to do that.
No, they did.